Welcome, Queen. Growing up, there were certain words and phrases that I would use that only those closest to me could understand. And oftentimes, we can want to have what I call insider language with those we care most about, with those we spend the most time with, especially the romantic partner in our lives. But I want to know, have you ever found yourself listening to a guy that you liked, listening to a guy that you may have been dating, and wondered, what is he talking about? If so, today's video is for you because I'm going to be sharing with you one commonly overlooked trait about guys that makes them different from women, yet easier, so much easier to understand. Before I do, though, I want to share with you how I came up with today's topic to share with you about. So, if you are in the United States, you know that we are in a major election year, meaning we get to choose, we have the opportunity before us to vote for who we think is best fit, best qualified to be president and vice president. So, as I was doing my research, because I research, as my stance is the letters I, D, G, B, and R, they don't run positions, they don't hold seats of power. Although I know some people fixate on that, those letters don't mean a thing. Long story short, I ran across Trump speaking, and here's what he said: I'm going to protect our women, whether they like it or not. And as I heard that, I just had to sit with it a moment. Because I know people say men aren't talking, but the reality is that's not true. Men are talking. The question becomes whether or not we as women are listening. And I'm not just talking about to what Trump is saying. I'm talking about the men in your life. Because recent studies have shown that while it was previously thought women talked a whole lot more than men, that's actually not true. And there's actually no evidence to support that claim. It's actually evidence to show and support the claim that men talk just as much as we do. And I'll link that below for some of y'all who like to fact check. But that's what the current studies are showing. And so y'all know I don't come to offend, but I won't pretend either. Because then that means as women, if men are talking, it becomes our responsibility to understand that we are certain, that we are clear, that we have clarity about what they are saying to us. And so I want you to consider whether or not when the man you are interested in or the man you may be dating, are you allowing what you feel, what you want, what you hope, or what you desire? Are you allowing any of those things to cloud your judgment, to block you from hearing what he is communicating? Because as in the example with Trump, he's very clear on his intentions. He's very clear on what he is going to do. The only question becomes whether or not people take him seriously. Because a commonly overlooked trait about men is that they're often simple. Meaning that you don't need to add, you don't need to subtract, you don't need to guess about what they've said. Because they often, typically, say exactly what they mean. The question becomes, again, are you allowing what you feel, what you hope, what you desire, what you want to cloud your judgment, to block you from hearing what they are saying? I know sometimes we don't like to do self-inventory, but if we don't evaluate self, we cannot determine if we have a blind spot that is stopping us, blocking us from getting what we desire, what we say that we want and need. And that is clear communication and understanding with the guy we say we want, with the guy we say we are interested in being with and sharing a life with. So think about that today and going forward. Because what Trump said, it was blunt, it was to the point, it was very disrespectful. And yet they are going to still have women go vote for him. Because that's their choice. That's what they want to do. And likewise, in our lives and in our relationships, we have to take the time to consider if we are attaching ourselves, if we are holding on to, if we are hoping, wishing, and praying for a man to be something or to want something that he does not want to be or that he does not desire. Because it is possible that sometimes the person causing the relational conflict in our lives for us is us. Meaning we are holding on to something, or we are hoping, praying, wishing for something in a man that does not exist. At least in him. Because that's not who he is. And I've told you before, and I'll share with you again. You cannot make a person into who you desire, who you hope, who you want, who you are praying that they will become. That is on them. They get to decide how they are going to show up in life. And so I want you to take into consideration, if the guy that you want to be with, if the guy you desire to be with is disrespectful, if he has no regard for what you think, how you feel, if it's his way or the highway. And then I want you to consider whether or not you really want to sign up for doing life like that. Because too often we are guilty of dismissing, overlooking, or thinking that what the guy has told us, that he didn't really mean what he said. That we can persuade him or convince him to change his position. And that is a mistake. But we do this. So understand, just like many have wrongly convinced themselves that voting doesn't matter, many have convinced themselves that a man's communication is complicated. But what is often required in both situations is for us to look within, ask intentional clarifying questions, and then make the best choice for us, even if it's one we know he won't agree with. As always, I'm Coach Sam telling you that 24 hours doesn't seem long, but in 24 hours, you can change your life. So go ahead and do something life-changing now.